Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella. Today I'm going to be doing an unhaul. That feeling's in the air, spring cleaning, I want to get rid of some stuff. Sam from Thoughts on Tomes is like the ultimate unhauler and has like really re-inspired me to unhaul again, and I've just been feeling the itch, the need to want to get rid of some stuff, and here's my result. If you don't follow me typically, first of all, hi, hello, but I have kind of been going through this journey over the past year and a bit, really sort of reevaluating my book purchasing, my consumerist habits, and kind of dealing with the damage I dealt myself in the first few years on BookTube. I just bought a lot. I never bought an amount that was like unhealthy in terms of like spending more than I should have, but it was just too much. I didn't really investigate why I was buying those things, and so now I try to be smarter about it. But again, my TBR has just been overwhelmingly huge. This go around, I really had to investigate my choice in not wanting to get rid of stuff if I spent a lot of money on it. You'll see in a lot of my past unhauls, a lot of the books I got rid of are used books because I didn't spend that much money on them, so I didn't feel like I had much stake in the game. But books that I purchase new or full price or get them from book boxes, I have a harder time letting them go because I've spent a lot on them and I do feel a bit guilty. I'm trying to work through getting through that and trying to acknowledge the fact that the money has been spent either way. If I read it and dislike it and waste my time, I've wasted my time as well as my money. But if there's something I know I'm not going to like, or I have read it and I don't want it to take up space on my shelves because it's not something that I enjoy, it's time to get rid of it. This one is definitely going to let me start that process. It's not like I've been great at it, and I'm sure my next unhaul I'll be a lot more ruthless, especially with books that I got through Owlcrate, because I was a subscriber with them for I think just over 3 years and canceled in January 2020. And there are some books that I deeply value that I got from them. I love some of the editions that I got, but there are a lot of books I had no interest in reading and feel a lot of guilt wrapped up in them. It's a lot of money, especially with how much it costs to ship it to me. I think I was spending like $55 a month, something like that in Canadian, to get it to me. But now we're going to get to the mess that I created myself. We're starting this off with an uninteresting note, and that's H is for Hawk by Helen MacDonald. I haven't read this, no plan to read it. I think I purchased it when I needed like a fifth book to get like buy 4, get the fifth free at Value Village. I don't know what I thought this was, but I definitely didn't think that this was a memoir. It's a memoir discussing a woman grieving the death of her father and turning to like falconry. I don't know what at all compelled me to choose this book. There are so many other things I could have grabbed instead of that. I'm also going to get rid of Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. I read this, I thought I was going to love it, and was kind of severely underwhelmed by it. It's an East Asian Snow White evil queen retelling. So the first book, you actually follow the evil queen choosing to go down like an evil path, and I thought this was going to be the villain origin story of my dreams. A lot of people whose reviews I trust and what they were saying about the reviews really made me think I was going to love it, but ultimately I was pretty let down with it and gave it 3 stars. I'm also going to get rid of In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. I for a second thought about keeping it because I did literally like just buy it and read it in December. This is a holiday Christmas romance, contemporary romance that is just one of the blandest, flavorless books I've ever read. And for a romance, this is probably the worst romance I've ever read, just in terms of how boring it is and how boring the main characters are. That book feels real phoned in, and so I don't need to keep it. I have made a decision to get rid of my A.S. King collection. I have 3 books by her. I have Jesus. I almost dropped it, not I have Jesus. I have Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future, Reality Boy, and Everyone Sees the Ants by A.S. King. I have wanted to read some of her books for a pretty long time, but I have never had the motivation to pick these up. The books I want to read by her, the ones I want to read the most, are not the ones I own by her. This is a lot of like surrealist fiction, gets real weird, and while I like some surrealist fiction, it's not something I actively reach for. If I find out I love A.S. King, I don't mind repurchasing them if I have to, but they take up a lot of space and they are so low on the totem pole for me to read them. I'm also finally going to get rid of Atonement by Ian McEwan. I have never felt the need to read this book, and if I ever do want to experience the story, I'm just gonna watch the movie of the two very attractive people that we have from here. I love both James McAvoy and Keira Knightley, so I'd rather just watch it, and apparently it's really sad. Don't particularly love World War II fiction, so I'm like really upset and sad to have to talk about these two books because I was looking forward to them so much. That's The Three-Body Problem and Death's End by Cixin Liu. These are books 1 and 3. In the, I don't remember if this series has a different name, but the author has said some really upsetting things about the internment camps that Uyghur Muslims are being forced into in China. Yeah, I'm really, really upset about these ones because I was really looking forward to it, but what he has said has been kind of horrendous, so I just can't get past that. I'm finally going to get rid of this, and that's Wool by Hugh Howley. It has narrowly missed the Unhauls many times. I've seen a lot of reviews saying the fact that it's a bunch of short stories written in a chunky book, they don't love the execution. I also never feel obligated or at all really want to pick this one up when I think about sci-fi, so it can go. I also am not a huge fan of mystery thrillers. When I do read them, I want it to be one that is like really, really well reviewed. And I don't even remember how I got this in my hands, but that's Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. And at the back it says 2016's answer to Gone Girl, which is like one of the most generic things you can say about a thriller because they comp everything to Gone Girl. Again, another thriller about a non-functioning couple, so no thank you. I also am finally going to get rid of Dangerous Women, an anthology edited by George R. R. Martin and Gardner Dozois. This is a short story collection, which is ironic because it's over 750 pages of a bunch of SFF authors writing about dangerous women. Just wish there were more female authors featured in this anthology. I've honestly been sitting here for like the past 3 minutes trying to decide whether or not actually to get rid of this. You know what? No, I'm going to get rid of it because I don't actually love short story collections that have contributions from a bunch of different authors. I'd rather read being written by one author, and that's 780 pages, so I think I can pass. I'm really sad to be getting rid of this, and that's Dear Ijoelle, or a Feminist Manifesto on 15 Suggestions by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Similar with Cixin Liu, Chimamanda is quite transphobic and has said some really hurtful things, and I'm just not going to bother reading stuff by feminists, by TERFs. I'm just not. Another book I've been holding on to for far too long because I feel guilty about it is That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston. I haven't read this. Frankly, I didn't even buy this for myself. I asked for it for Christmas quite a few years ago because I just was in love with this cover, and I didn't really investigate what it was about so much because I was just like, wow, cover. It's one of my true cover buys, and I didn't even really buy it myself. But I don't love YA fantasy so much anymore, and I think this is definitely time travel-y, which I just don't like. Nothing about it is exciting. So no thank you. I'm also going to be getting rid of Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levinseller. This was an Owl Crate book. It has a book plate in there. And this I purchased used really close after it released because I was like, ooh, exciting. And these books are pretty bad. I've read them both. I actually featured this in my worst books of 2020 list. I didn't love this one, but I thought there were some things that were redeeming about it. This book had no redeeming qualities. For me, I gave it 1 star. I hated it. I hate the writing. I hate pretty much everything about it. So I don't need to keep it, even though, again, this was an Owl Crate book from way back. These don't need to take up space on my shelves, and I'm sure someone else will really, really love them. Finally getting rid of these books. I can't believe I haven't gotten rid of them yet, but I've just been morbidly curious, but it's time to get rid of them, and that's the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahada Mafi. I have held on to these for so long. It's such a polarizing series, but it was a polarizing series back in like what? 2014? Like, when was the first book published? Holy shit. 2011. I can pass them along. They take up a good chunk of space on my shelves, and I'm not going to like them, so goodbye. So we're not ending this off on a super exciting note. I'm also going to get rid of We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. I actually have 2 copies of this book, and for now I'm going to hold on to the other copy I have. We'll see if it makes the cut eventually. Didn't like the book the first time I read it, which was a bummer because I was really anticipating it. I gave it 2 stars. And then somewhat recently, I actually reread it, and I thought that maybe the mood I was in affected my reading experience, and it kind of did. I ended up bumping it up to a 3 star. Then I went and read the sequel this month from my library and was let down with the sequel. We'll see if I keep the other one, but this was a lesson in caution to me to not have 2 copies of the same book of an author you've never read before ordered to you before you even touch the book, because I was burnt on this one. So I made an impromptu decision, and I'm going to get rid of a couple more books, and I want to do that before I have to hold on to them for another couple months. The first being In the Midst of Winter by Isabel Allende. I have read this. This is adult magical realism. I want to read more of Isabel Allende, but I didn't love this one, so I'm going to pass it along. I also am getting rid of Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I have liked some of their romance stuff. I haven't read this. This is young adult coming of age about a queer boy and like a kind of a coming out story. And to be honest, I'm not particularly interested on these 2 authors tackling this topic. I'd rather read from a queer man. So I'm going to also pass this one along. I'm sure someone will really value to have it. The final book that I have here, I'm shocked I haven't gotten rid of. Like, if you had asked me to bet on it, I would have said absolutely, yeah, I've gotten rid of it. I can't believe it's still on my shelves. I don't know how it's made it that far, but it's Ghostly by Audrey Niffenegger. That last name is unfortunate. I read this years ago. Like, years ago. It's a short story collection. Shocker, another short story collection of like Halloween-y-ish stories, and I really only liked like 2 stories, but I don't need to keep this. I honestly am shocked that this is still on here, and it's really pretty if I could get it to reflect, but it was not worth my time. You know what? I think it's time. I kind of forgot that I own these books. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that I have on these shelves don't get as prioritized as much, just because like this is like my middle grade, some speculative fiction, romance or whatever, which I've read, and then like some adult literary fiction up there. So this is not a shelf I prioritize too often, and I don't think people often see. So I forgot that I still own the Selection trilogy. I'm gonna get rid of it. They were kind of fun, very soapy, campy YA version take on a dystopian bachelor. I think if I would read these now, I would absolutely hate them. So it's time for me to get rid of them. I feel good. back to the video. Okay, so I exactly have 20 books that I'm going to get rid of. I do really like the fact that this gave me a little bit of wiggle room on some of my shelves because some things are getting pretty tight. Let me know down in the comments below if you are like a special edition orderer, what you do, like how you navigate having those books if you dislike them. That's something I'm really still wrestling with and trying to work through. So if you have any tips, let me know down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.